Welcome to Friday's devotional. We're going to be looking at Genesis chapter 3, verses 16 through 19. And again, we're in the midst of the curses or the consequences for sin, in this case, specifically upon Eve and Adam, respectively. Respectively, that's the right word. Anyways, the consequence on humanity for them taking on themselves the responsibility of defining good and evil, in opposition, in rebellion, and failure to be trusting and showing their allegiance to God rather than they took for themselves. The first God addresses the woman, addresses Eve. Again, it's kind of in order of how the characters were introduced in the early part of the chapter. Serpent, then woman, then man, serpent, Eve, and Adam. For Eve, now, we need to remember that both to Adam and Eve was given the mandate in Genesis 1 to be fruitful and multiply. And this mandate is still in effect. Humanity's sin, Adam and Eve's sin, had not stopped this mandate that God had given humanity prior to their rebellion. But the effect now is going to be harder. Humanity has made it harder for themselves to fulfill God's mandate. So, multiply. Kids, now childbearing is going to be painful. It's going to be more difficult. And the marriage relationship, it's now not going to be a source of automatic security and fulfillment for both, but there's going to be struggle. There's going to be power plays. There's going to be all sorts of conflict that is now going to result, because now, instead of both persons relying on God together, listening to God together, they're both going to be looking for, at times, how to do things on their own to get their way. Again, the be fruitful is not just about numeric growth. That word fruitful is also about a flourishing, about life-giving and growth. And so that mandate, there is God saying through the woman to both, it's now going to be harder. To Adam, well, humanity, male and female, had also been given a mandate of governing the garden, filling the earth with the flourishing order God had established in the garden that humanity was to tend and watch over. Those words that actually related to temple later on in the Old Testament. Humanity had been given the mandate to expand what God had created in the garden, to spread over creation. And now again, that mandate is going to be harder. When Adam looks to cultivate the ground, weeds, thorns are going to come. Not just automatic fertility, growth, flourishing, order. Things are going to be harder. But we need to recognize that there is still grace from God in this. God is still treating better than they deserve. There will be toil, but there will also be provision in the midst of it. Now, I want to say this. These verses have been used to talk about the roles of husbands and wives, how they were to be and how they are to be. It's not a bad conversation. But from this text, to the original readers, the primary lesson would have been the mandate that God gave to humanity to be fruitful and multiply, to tend and guard the garden, to expand it, to cultivate, to rule over creation as kind of stewards under God's authority. That mandate had not been removed from humanity, but is going to be harder. And it was a call to rely again upon God, even in the midst of the hardship. God is working to bring rescue. Verse 15, it would come. Because notice here too, This text is saying God is still in relationship with humanity. God did not abandon them. He was looking to bring rescue. Humanity is needing to depend and rely, even as the connection now would be different, as we'll see in tomorrow's passage. So here's the question for today. How are you looking to be fruitful? That doesn't mean having more kids. How are you looking to bring God's flourishing life into your own life and through you into the world around you as God gives you influence and opportunity? How can you love God and love others as you love yourself today, to put it in a way that Jesus did? As you consider that question, and as you follow Jesus today, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you today, and today would you experience his peace. God bless.